you dropped out of school, but I also hear that you have done your masters.
Exactly.
So, can you help us understand? We have imported somebody from Singapore. I would like to introduce you to Benjamin Cheng. What was your interview like? For example, for somebody who's not having a degree, so why did they decide to give you a job? Why do you think?
Because my asking is not high. Definitely, I can't compare myself with the salary of or get back the kind of salary that I get from Navy.
Right.
It's a very huge pay cut, right? And I start to be, in a sense, having that character to willing to learn, right? And so I think the boss somehow thinks that, yeah, this guy can somehow be trusted, and he got me hired.
Ben, are you a tech guy? Are you a product guy? Are you a ops guy? Are you a process guy? Are you a business guy? If you have to identify yourself, so what's your specialty?
I don't see myself specialized in any departments.
Okay.
I see myself as a opportunist.
Are you an entrepreneur, Ben?
Every entrepreneur, I believe, given the resources, he or she can become entrepreneur. But then why stop there as a entrepreneur? Because I think when you are able to have that resources, when you are able to expand very quickly, you get that adrenal rush. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you can achieve.
Should I spend $1 million to hire a consulting agency who will do a market research on where to put my coffee shops? Or I just save that $1 million and say that, okay, let me open one next to every Starbucks.
I'll share a story with you. Maybe it change your opinion.
Okay.
You know, when I was doing a business in Yellow Box, we are a packaging firm.
Right.
So what I mean by packaging is down from, a Mentos, the wrapper that wrap that small little candy, right? So the machine that fill the candy, seal the pack, right? Sort it out, put into a bigger pack. The bigger pack go into a carton box, seal the carton box, put inside the pallet. So this is what my company does during that, right? The machineries that involve in this process, the consumers that involve, consumables that involve in this process, and this is what we do. So when I was conceptualizing Yellow Box, which is how do we position ourselves as an industrial superstore? So it's beyond packaging. So now one day I was thinking very hard and say that, hey, in order to penetrate into this industry, right, while my core is packaging, and my audiences mainly are from manufacturing, plants, warehousing, logistics. And among them all, they all use a common thing, pallet truck. Right? And pallet truck, from what I understand in the market during then, is about $500 made from China. So I send my product team and say, go source me pallet truck. The cheapest you can get, the most reliable you can get. Okay? And they source and they come back and tell me, Ben, it's $180. I got 3 years warranty for every unit. Right? We need to order 180 units in a 40-footer. That's the minimum MOQ. And then we can start selling. Right? So let me know your decision. Now I'm stuck with two predicaments. Number one, like what you mentioned, should I spend $1 million and advertise and sell pallet truck at $500 or $400? Or can I sell this pallet truck at almost cost, breaking my break-even, my handling costs and whatsoever, and then let this run by its own? Right? Of course, I choose the latter. And the management was a bit bizarre. I was like, Ben, you sure? I say, yeah, sure, why not, right? And my warehouse team came to tell me and say, Ben, our warehouse is not big enough. We can't store 180 pallet truck. Meaning to say, once the container is here, once we unstuff it out, it has to go. Otherwise, the whole operations will be gone. Right? It will impede a lot of other operation issues. I say, cool. Okay, I understand where is the constraint. Then I spoke to my marketing team. So let's orchestrate this. I'm going to sell this pallet truck at $199. I'm going to give 1 year warranty, which is better than anyone. So the market is having $400, $300, 400, 500, right? Half a year warranty, some 1 year warranty. I'm selling at 199. Okay, I'm spoiling the market.
Right.
Okay, and with all our resources, with our existing customer, with our existing database, with our own social media, right? And this is where the channels we are going to create awareness.
Right.
And we did it. The moment we send a PO out, my marketing team sent out all the marketing stuff, fire it off.
Right.
And to our surprise, that the next day we start getting orders.
Okay.
Right? People think that we are not serious, people start buying. Right? And say, hey, you sure or not? 1 year warranty. I say, no problem. You add another $50, I add another year. I got 3 years warranty, what's there to worry, right? and we add another feature, additional $50 for another year. Right? And additional $100 for another 2 years. So these add credibility. And I'm selling at 199.
Okay.
Cool?
Okay.
And the moment when the PO is done, when the container is ready to be shipped, I already sold the full container.
Right. Right.
Now, here comes the second issue. The orders keep coming in while we don't have the stock. So we do a back-to-back order again. Right? We did the second container, and within the next 2 weeks, it's gone again. Happy problem. So when I was about to order the third, people say, hey, we can't manage. Let's stop for a while. Right? So we start selling. And throughout that half a year, I remember, all the forklift buyers, sellers, rang up to me and say, Ben, you are killing the market. I say, yeah, I understand. It's just temporarily. Yeah. So once I finish my stock, probably I will consider increasing the price. So they hang up. And behind my back, I was talking to my boss and say, good. Now all these buyers are warehouse people. They not only bought 1 unit, they are very, very cautious in the sense that they know that this is going to be a one-time. Some of them bought 10 units. Some of them bought 20 units and put it one side. Right? And I know that this is going to be a problem because when they start stocking, the market is going to be oversupplied very soon. So we stop buying in such a rapid manner and we pace ourselves. The next moment is, I want all the list of my buyer. So all this buyer comes in, I sit in front of my 10 sales. These are the list of your customer. Go, sell them packaging. That's where the bread and butter is.
So why I started with this question is that when we are having a session like this, and so that we can learn from you. So for a while we sometimes kind of reinvent the wheel in our own jobs that we do, sometimes it's also, I think, we take a break, listen to people who have gone through the grind, and this could probably fasten our process. So if by, say, for example, setting up your coffee chains next to Starbucks could, suddenly save you $1 million and, get sales going, right? Why don't we stop our work today, concentrate on Ben, and see what we can learn from him? Probably it could fasten our process of things that we are trying to do, right? So quickly, welcome to episode 6. I am Dhanraj at the Founders Fund Network. We always call entrepreneurs to come and share their part of their journey so that we can learn from them, we can learn from their mistakes, we can learn from what they did best. But today, as you know, at our venture, which is PWIP, we help solve for export. But today we have imported somebody from Singapore. I would like to introduce you to Benjamin Cheng from Singapore. Ben, we have already learned a lot about you.
Right.
And we felt that your story is amazing.
Thank you.
But I have been instructed to actually go one by one, line by line on your LinkedIn, right? So I see Yellow Box there. I see Samsung there. And I see a lot of experience. Like, for example, you remind me of somebody whom I had met in Germany. This was 2011. He was a professor in Fachhochschule. It is a German university. He was a professor, and he's told me before professor, he was a doctor, And before doctor, he was a pilot. And I was like, how can you be like three things in your same lifetime, right? So I hear that you championed at Yellow Box, which you just mentioned, and then you spent a lot of time at Samsung. And then I also heard as to how you started schooling, and then I think you gave a break to yourself and then directly jumped into masters.
Yes, yes.
So before I quickly go into your LinkedIn profile, I would want to ask your story, Ben. Where were you born? How was your childhood? How did you reach where you reach today? Some insights that you can share with us.
Thank you, Dhanraj, for inviting me to this. Right. I don't normally share what I have or what I gone through in private life. Although I think people close to me,
Right.
I would share and I will try to inspire them because what they are having right now is not exactly the worst.
Right.
And the sky is always the limit. As long as you have the drive, the motivation, you can really do wonders.
Right.
Now, let me start off with my background, right? I'm born in Singapore.
Right.
I'm single parent,
Right.
right? The problem with being single parent in Singapore, meaning to say I only have my mother that
Right.
earns the bread and butter for the
Right.
family.
Right.
So naturally, I do not have a lot of resources.
Right.
And I do not have a lot of guidance,
Right.
right? I'm mixed with the bad company. I'm not academically inclined. During then, that was not my focus at all.
Right.
And I love to play.
Right.
And fun was my focus
Right.
during then. And I spent in Singapore education, you have primary school, which is 6 years. I cleared that with a PSLE.
Right.
In secondary school, we have all the way until Sec 5 where we get GC O level,
Right.
right? I drop out at 4.
Okay.
Okay, so when I drop out at 4, my mother, of course, is very, very disappointed. However, she also know that I'm of an age where kids are rebellious.
Right.
They go against what the parent wants.
Good.
And they say, okay, you run your life. So one fine day, I went to her and I tell her, Mommy, I'm going to be a regular army man.
Right.
I'm going to sign 6 years contract.
Okay.
So of course she's worried in the sense that because I'm rebellious.
Right.
And army being very hierarchical,
Right.
you just have to listen because you are the lowest life form there,
Right.
right? And she worried that I might not be able to go through that 6 years.
Right.
Now, to cut that short, I excel during that 6 years.
Right.
I joined the Air Force as a anti-aircraft specialist,
Right.
and then I joined Navy,
Right.
where I share the same expertise in terms of weapon.
Right.
In 2005, 2004, it hit my lifetime in the sense that I start questioning myself.
Right.
What am I doing here? Right. During then, probably I was about in my 20s.
Right.
And every day what I do is very, I would say, routine.
Right.
I have regular pay. Life is routine. Things is good. The force is treating me well. I was one of the probably better performing specialists inside.
Right.
And I'm given a lot of responsibility.
Right.
So I'm happy. But at the same time, I feel it's lacking. Lacking in the sense that because I am stuck at one environment, I'm not able to see the other.
Right.
So my wish was during then, what is commercial life about?
Right.
So when I was being given the second contract to extend, I rejected it.
Right.
And what I did was, okay, when I came out, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I look around the newspaper, I saw the recruitment ads. In fact, everyone asked for a degree
Right.
during that time, and I'm without any.
Right.
So I feel I'm myself, in a sense, not on par with the average, right? And I didn't think that this is a stoppage during then, and I was quite stubborn about it. So I enrolled to, of course, I sent in a lot of CVs to a lot of company, and the first company that I joined was Pro Media.
Right.
So what Pro Media does is they have these industrial directories,
Right.
similar to Yellow Box.
Right.
So I was being exposed to a lot of the know-how in that industry. in terms of how to categorize all the products, how to do pagination, how to do publications, how to sell to advertiser, how to handle objection handling, right? How to market it, right? At the same time, going through events with all the ATL and BTL. So with that, I have tried to master whatever marketing skill I can learn from there, right? And I start growing. So I joined ProMedia in a very short time, about 6 months. I went into helping one of the ex-manager in ProMedia. He set up a company in Indonesia. So I went over to help him start up the company. So that's where my startup experience comes in, right? In Indonesia.
But what was your interview like? For example, for somebody who's not having a degree, so why did they decide to give you a job? Why do you think?
Because my asking is not high.
Okay.
Definitely, I can't compare myself with the salary of or get back the kind of salary that I get from Navy.
Right.
It's a very huge pay cut.
Right.
Right. And I start to be, in a sense, having that character to willing to learn.
Right.
Right. And so I think the boss somehow thinks that, yeah, this guy can somehow be trusted.
Okay.
And he got me hired.
Okay.
Right. Of course, I'm very grateful to him until today because that really got me started.
Right.
And when I was in Indonesia,
Right.
this startup owner, which is my ex-manager.
Right.
So of course, being a startup, you start doing everything.
Right.
And that's where you get exposed to a lot more things, right? Down from sales, down from design, down from all sorts of rubbish management and things like that. So during then, my thought is, well, whether I go and expose myself and learn and do it the hard way, or I can stay put with my position, happy and hopeful that I can grow from there. Right, but I took the chance to learn more and get myself exposed.
So you spent about 4 years in Air Force.
Yeah.
So, and you spent about 3 years in the Navy.
Yep.
So Air Force, I think Republic Singapore Air Force, which is in Singapore, right? And the Navy, you were always on the move.
Yes.
Right? In the waters. And Pro Media was basically the geography that you covered was Indonesia.
In Singapore.
Yeah. But ATL and BTL you spoke about. So
it's all around Asia.
Asia. Okay.
Yeah.
Singapore has BTL?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then you become a marketing manager in Jakarta.
Yes, that's where I start helping the my ex-manager to start up this Look International.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since you had such varied background, and today if I have to ask you, Ben, are you a tech guy? Are you a product guy? Are you a ops guy? Are you a process guy? Are you a business guy? Because it looks like, we'll go deeper into your next part of your career. So it looks like you've done almost everything. So if you have to identify yourself, so what's your specialty?
I don't see myself specialized in any departments.
Okay.
I see myself as a opportunist.
Right.
Right. And when we are young, and especially when I'm I would say late starter, I will want to see if there are any shortcut to success. But in between this shortcut to success, I also know hard work is required. So in Indonesia, I can start working at morning, and when the sun set to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock p.m., I will still be working on my stuff.
I wanted to ask you this. So in India, for example, our infrastructure of roads, bus, we have to really struggle to reach to work, right? Getting a transport, and it's very, very difficult. And a lot of us are in the BTL in India. So I feel naturally it teaches us that life is not going to be easy. We have to work, we have to slog it out, work hard, put the number of hours, put all that energy that is required to grow, right? But you, I see, are from a country which is Singapore, which from the outside it looks very glamorous, beautiful infrastructure, probably it looks like the country is like 50 or 100 years ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you need to work hard? I don't understand this. So there might be problems in terms of finance, etc. So uh, I see this. I see you guys in Singapore put more effort, and people who are in their 60s, 70s are also working out in restaurants, hawker centers, etc. So what is that thing about Singapore that makes you work so hard?
I can't answer for all of them.
Right.
Right. For myself, during at that point in life, I'm hunger for success.
Right.
Right. I just want to prove myself that hey, I can make it. Right.
Right.
But I'm not there yet.
Right.
So whatever that is being thrown to me,
Right.
I will do my best to learn.
Right.
I'll do my best to execute it.
Right.
Right. That's my mentality. And during then, I have this very, very funny analogy. My job is to make my superior jobless.
Right.
Right. Okay. So how can I make my superior or my manager jobless?
Right.
Meaning to say I take on responsibility.
Yeah. Free him of all the load.
You're right.
Yeah.
So that is me.
Right.
So you ask me to learn this, learn that, I will do it.
Right.
And I will take that responsibility and I'll do it.
Right.
So that you get free from your time.
Right.
And when that happens, it means you can't live without me.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And that's where I thought progression is on the way.
Right.
Now, even when my manager doesn't want to promote me, or even when my boss doesn't see me in that way,
Right.
or that I'm worth promoting,
Right.
guess what? I'll be wanted somewhere else.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Not just because of the skill set, it's
Right.
because of your character.
Right.
It's because of your mentality.
Right. Right.
And this is where I thought, and I don't think till to date,
Right.
this is the wrong concept.
Right.
Because you're just being aggressive.
Right. 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 Amazing. And so you dropped out of school,
Mm-hmm.
but I also hear that you have done your masters.
Exactly.
So can you help us understand how does this happen?
That was a very tough time. Okay. After Indonesia, I went to China for 4 years, probably 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Right. It was again a startup where I started the business from scratch again.
This is Shanghai.
Yes.
Right.
And the issue was during this period of time, it was the financial recession where everyone cut back their AMP budget and stuff like that.
Right.
So there wasn't much progress in the company, and therefore I thought, okay, let's come back and see what is the opportunity here in Singapore.
Okay.
So coming back with that vast experience, you thought company would want you, right?
Right.
But no, it's not the fact. The fact is, in reality, companies still look for the certs.
Right.
Are you a degree holder?
Right.
You want to be a manager, you need to be certain degree, you need your tertiary and stuff like that. And
Right.
I don't understand why. So I, of course, face the reality and tell myself, during then I have a wife, I tell my wife, hey, I think this is the time I need to upgrade, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I enrolled some of the university that see me as potential.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them came to me and said, hey, are you interested in an MBA instead of a degree?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I did a bit of a research. What is the difference between degree and MBA? So of course MBA is something that is of higher level. But on the other hand, I do not have any academic background to support this MBA. And it's a risk. I know it, right? So the person again in the school tells me, hey, but I need to get you through an interview before. Send me your CV. Let the people, let the school understand your experience and see whether do you qualify for that. So I just sent off my CV, and very fortunately, I get through.
Okay.
Right. Those years when I started off MBA are the toughest period. I have my first kid. My house just came. My flat just came. I just probably married a year. Right. Just came back from Shanghai. Things are in a mess. and I'm now taking on an MBA.
Which is you have to leave your job to go to school?
It's a part-time.
Part-time, okay.
So I took a part-time.
Okay.
So then my thought is, okay, now this is a time where I think, let's not go for a manager job. Let's go for executive, where I can be more easy in a sense, and of course I can spare time to do what I need to do, right? So Kogri comes in. I was fortunate that I went into a construction industry, totally new.
Right.
They are open to accept someone that is without experience,
Right.
and I went in as a marketing executive, right? First of all, I'm expert. My forte is in marketing. During the 08 period, I've learned SEO, SEM, right, PPC, content, and things like that. So in Kogri, while doing marketing for them, I also ramp up their website, put in the keywords, and fortunately, it works. Right, I saved my professional image, and on beyond that, I also start doing BD, business development.
Right.
I start meeting with engineers. I start meeting with consultants. I start meeting with architects. And of course, before meeting them, I need to be very well versed in what I'm selling. Kogri is a super flat flooring engineer company that constructs super flat floor, right? And I need to know terminology. I need to understand how floor are being built, the sequence of it, and of course, my manager then, GM Gary Curtis, was very helpful. He taught me all the sequence, and then bring me to every sales visit. So I mentor under him. I see the way how he sells, how he explained, and how he tackle problem. So that's where I start learning construction.
Right.
And I'm able to speak to consultant, engineer, and sell the products. So that's me. And of course, we generate leads through events, right? And it got promising after I left the company, because construction is a very long cycle kind of a buying process, right? But I'm happy that some of them is fruitful on some of the deals. So that's Kogri. And when I was in Kogri for about probably 2 years, my master's is about to end, right? And en route, fortunately, I did not fail any of the module. I do not have to retake. But the struggle is because I do not have the background in academic, in degree. So there's a lot of theories I can't really handle. Meaning to say, when you handle a thesis, when you do a thesis, you can probably spend just 1 week, settle off the thesis, because a lot of theories is already back on your head. But for me, it's not. Every one journal you read, I probably have to read 10. And every 1 hour you spend, probably I have to spend 10, because I have to go through and refer, right? And those days, my regular routine is waking up at probably 6 o'clock. I start off the day. I will end myself at probably 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Constantly for 2 years, until I complete my MBA. Yeah, of course,
So
with
you
a
used to sleep
child.
for 2-3 hours?
Yes, that was the time.
Okay.
That was the time.
But fast forward to today, do you think if you have to run a company, do you really need academics, or you are able to, because we have a lot of examples of school dropouts being CEOs of great companies, but today's day, what do you think?
I think it helps. It helps that person to crystallize his thinking. It helps the person to understand certain framework and how to do certain things, right? If we were to compare with entrepreneur in that sense probably is a lot of gut feel. The gut feel that brought the first success allows him to hire people that helps him in all those work and grow that company. Now, given that, coming to your point, I think if an entrepreneur has an MBA, before he start his business, he will fail. However, if the entrepreneur having probably a school dropout or things like that, he will be a bit more cowboy in doing certain things. And if he success, probably he will have another people that has the MBA to support him, right? But of course, let's not forget, many people, many entrepreneurs comes from a very rich academic background. Mark Zuckerberg is in Harvard, right? You can name a few, right? Those people are brilliant.
There's one thing which is very interesting, which I liked, which you said about there are 4 types of people when it comes to work. If you can share that again to the audience. So Ben identified 4 types of people at work. If you can share that, Ben.
Yes. To me, I learned that in Yellow Box.
Okay.
And from my boss.
Okay.
So, and I think I kind of blew it up in a sense that it becomes part of my working style.
Okay.
And it embedded me very strongly. Okay. So the 4 types of people, what I feel is the lowest type of people that I would like to work with is someone that only spend time at work, doesn't know what happens, doesn't know the problem, and of course he can't provide any solution. So he's just there every day doing the same thing. When you talk to him and say, do you have any problem? No problem. So this is the kind of people, right? Okay, good.
That's the 4th one. You would put them
this
at
is the
lowest.
4th one. I'll put them at the lowest, right? Okay. But of course, some of the job require this kind of people. Okay. The 3rd one is people very similar to the 4th. Every day come to the office, start doing work. And when they see a problem, they will just keep quiet. Whether or not they have the courage to say it out, voice it out, or they have the courage to think of a solution and try to solve it. But they don't. They just keep quiet, right? And coming up with the 2nd are people that work, understand the problem, can't stand the problem, and they know that they need to voice it out, right? And the best that I always hold dear to is people that comes and work, understand where the problem is able to come out with a solution, right? And they continue doing that. Now, of course, in our life, honestly, in many scenarios, you may be at one time become the 4, the 4th type of people. Some scenario you will be on the 3rd, some scenario on the 2nd, some scenario on the 1st. It depends on your knowledge. It depends on your experience, right? And whenever you see, most importantly, a problem, you don't run away from it. You start moving around it, resolve it, speak to people, understand how they will respond to that. And I think with that kind of a mentality, you will grow. You will be successful. And I think in a company, especially in a startup, you need more of the type 1 and a type 2 rather than the type 3 and the type 4, right?
So even the type 2 is good, they come and show you the problem always.
Now, the people with having this issue that always comes to you with problem can only derive into a couple of scenarios. Number 1, they do not have the experience. Number 2, they are not being empowered to solve this problem, right? Now, which one are they? Or are they the 3rd, that they are just lazy to find solution? Now, as a leader, I think you need to identify them, right? And if this person is coming to you constantly with the same problem, maybe he's the 3rd. He's just lazy. But if you have shared with him how you handle your experience, guide him how to move it, and the next time he doesn't comes to you, or he comes to you with the approval, so he belongs to the 2nd or the 1st. And that's the time I think you can really look at this person and say, how much empowerment can I give him? The moment I give him empowerment, meaning to say, I free up more of my time.
Correct.
I give him more job satisfaction.
Correct.
And he can perform better.
Correct.
Right?
And the 3rd and the 4th, do you fire them or do you empower them and bring them up as well?
To me, this need a bit more discussion, in a sense, coaching. Right? Some jobs really need just the type 4 people. Right? Some jobs you can still make do with a type 3 people, but some you can't. And when that job can't allow to have a type 3, type 4 kind of a mentality, I think it is best to share your expectation and see if there's an improvement. Make an improvement plan. Share. Coach them. If they are good, they will proceed to become type 2, type 1. But if they can't, then you have to make a decision. It is not healthy while I expect you to do type 1, type 2, while you continue become type 3, type 4. Right? It becomes stress and conflict. So it's not healthy for all.
Right. Sometimes, normally we get to see, right, there might be somebody who is in the organization for 2 years, and somebody is just 6 months, but that person who has spent 6 months has learned so much than the person who is there for 2 years.
You're right.
Why do you think it happens? I mean, why that 2 year experience person not able to grasp as much as that 6 months?
If you want to go into details, then you have to see what this person is going through, right? It depends on their job scope. It depends on their character. Are they more friendly? They are able to talk around, or are they able to be more vocal, right? The tendency, what I saw and observed, people that like to talk, mingle around, normally are those that can learn very fast, right? However, on those people that has been more quiet, they are the quiet workers. Do pay attention, because sometimes they know it. They just don't have the confidence, right? To tell you, hey, I'm very confident in doing this. I know, but just that I kept quiet. I just don't like to talk. You can't fault them, right? So I think at that point, you probably have to really talk and discuss and identify where's the root issue before you come into assumption or come into a verdict. What is this person is?
In during a process, you mentioned there has to be a gatekeeper. So what is it only for operations, or is it can be for a company as a whole, or is it can be for other departments as well? And what is that role of a gatekeeper?
In fact, the gatekeeper role was founded for PWIP.
I think we might have to probably cut this. Let's see. Okay.
The gatekeeper, what I mean is every manager is a gatekeeper.
Okay.
Every manager in the role is a gatekeeper. Why I say so is because when there are so many moving parts moving under a department, the manager is the only person that have to know what is going on, right? And if he or she is not able to know what is going on, he's not managing, right? And if he or she knows what is going on, he exactly know on this item, this task, what is stopping the process. On this task, what is going smooth. Now, is he the gatekeeper now? He is.
Correct.
So the manager, in a sense that he needs to know, while helping the team to iron out issue, while helping the team to clear barrier so that the task is ongoing, at the same time managing the upper management by strategizing, by improving and doing all the KPIs, management of his team. He has to be the gatekeeper, because that is the expectation. Right.
Correct. So, coming back to Yellow Box, right? So, when you joined Yellow Box, was it at the verge of inception? It is just started, or what scale was it?
Now, when I first joined Syspec.
Okay.
Syspec was the packaging company.
Right.
Right. When I was there as a marketing manager, we understand that the market for machineries, packaging machineries are shrinking because manufacturing plants are moving out of Singapore due to high costs. And that's very natural. And if we were to serve the mass market, I can't afford to pay my salesmen, right? Because of their allowances, because of their commission, because of their wages. I can't allow them to lose focus on the bigger client and focus on the smaller client. So very naturally, it steers towards that we have to go digital, where digital is the front.
Right.
People can come in, add to cart, check out, and that's it, with the least involvement of the company.
Right.
And that is also one of the piece whereby we can try to bring prices down and give a better services, right? in terms of delivery, in terms of quality of the product. Right. So that's the main picture behind. So when we started Yellow Box, the website was done with a agent, and there are a lot of limitations. We are talking about B2B here. B2B, difference between B2B and B2C is business process. Right. Every company that wants to buy something, internally they need to raise a requisition form. In order to have a requisition form, they need a quotation. Right? Then the PO start coming in, and then everything starts flowing, and it's a lot of documentation. So if we were to go to Amazon and you were to say, hey, I want to buy this industrial product for my company, I'm the procurement, I do a print screen, I say, hey, I want to buy this. Now the next moment, this price may not be valid anymore. Right? And how do you answer? Second to that is I need to use my credit card, and I need to claim. Right? It's another process. Right? And does the company allow that? So in order for us to do it, what we do is when we started off Yellow Box, we allow the people to print a quotation. The quotation upon printing, we allow a 2 weeks price that it will not change. Even if my website price changes, I will honor what is printed on the quotation itself. So it gives you an ease of mind. Right? This is number one. Number two is that we start giving company credits. Whatever you are, as long as you are a legit, registered company, I'll give you $500 Sing. This allows you not to use your credit card immediately, and then after we deliver, you pay us. Right? It's act of convenience. And last but not least is that the user, it is not very face front, the user, when they are into the platform and they start buying from you regularly, we can do contract pricing. So the price will not be what is shown in the public, but you will have your own special price. Right? And that also help us to avoid conflict with our distributors. Right? And having said all these functions, we can't scale with an agent because the turnaround time of developing new features is taking way too long. So we just have to build in-house. So we have our own in-house developer, we have our own in-house marketing, and we built this from ground up, having all the features, and at the end of the day, integrated into our ERP system, where we are able to deliver the moment you click a button to check out, right, and deliver the same day. Now, with all this experience, customers start coming in and enjoy these features. Because at the end of the day, the moment they open up, they will be able to tell what have I bought, when have I bought, what price have I bought, what product have I bought, right? And these reports are not readily available even within their ERP system, right? Second to that is, when I want to buy, I know whether this stock is available or not. And I can drop an order immediately. And I know they will deliver within the stipulated time. Right? And this experience gives my customer, I would say, trust in the services itself. Right?
So, before I go in quickly into your experience at Samsung, right? I want to ask if anybody has a question for Ben, anything that you want to understand. If I can quickly move on.
I have a question related to Samsung.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So after Samsung, I want to ask you about one important person from Singapore.
Right.
So, but we'll finish the Samsung story first. So, what was your learnings at Samsung like in terms of? I understand how you were amazed by how the back end worked, right? Once the order is placed, right? If you can share us your learnings from there.
You know, there are a lot of teething issue when you start a new business, especially when it comes to e-commerce. It is not new. It is not new that I would deliver items to my customer. Right. In Yellow Box, I does that.
Okay.
In Yellow Box, I started off in a very junior way. You know, for every product listing, I'll plan the product, I will name that product, I will tweak all the description, and I will set the pricing.
Okay.
So I'm the one who is doing all this work.
Right.
For 6,000 products, I did it.
Okay.
All right. And exactly I know how do I successfully name a product.
Okay.
And how do I churn out a product listing.
Okay.
So when I grow a team, I exactly know what he or she is going to face, what are the information he or she is required in order to do the job well. Now, putting that back to Samsung, I only have 3 missions.
Okay.
The first mission is Samsung at that point of time, they are not in online business. They are not in online, right? They want to be online.
Okay.
That's the simplest, right? Just start doing online. Second is they do not have brand present. Meaning to say every one or every brand that can be bought online, Samsung is absent.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Whether it is going to be in a marketplace or whether is it in a retailer.com. Right? The third mission is they want to start selling directly to consumer.
Right.
Now that's a bit of a stretch, right? During that time. And if we understand brand companies like this, they don't have a warehouse. They are not able to deliver parcel by parcel.
Correct.
They just doesn't have that infrastructure set up during then, right? And on top of that, there are a lot of other processes that we need to tweak. So now, given the fact that I can't directly serve to the consumer, to my buyer directly in the first year. So what we did is we did a small little mini e-commerce. We call it the employee purchase program.
Okay.
Now on the front is that I am extending employees to buy Samsung product, our own product, at a staff price. But behind the picture is I want to get my logistic, my inventory, my order processing flow right.
Okay.
So I can tell employee, I'm sorry, the order did not come to you on time. But I can't tell to my customer, sorry, your order is not on time. Right? So that gives us a little bit of a grinding period before we reach the flywheel. Then second to that is we start extending to our partner's employee. Now this is a bit up the game, right? And many times, or sometimes, occasionally, processes got glitches, and we are not able to pass through, or we are not able to deliver on time. Now, what I do is I'll take those orders, I'll go to the warehouse, and I'll just deliver. At the same time, I'm able to ask for feedback. At the same time, I'm able to gauge the experience, right? And I don't mind telling them that, hey, I am the head of online business. I'm delivering this product to you because my delivery team is so heavily involved with other deliveries. But I thought it would be nice for me to deliver this to you and at the same time seeking some feedback. And this is how I do it.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So you had a question, by the way.
I wanted to ask actually regarding those pallets, right? The market price was 400 to 450 around.
That was yellow box.
Sorry,
right?
yellow box. Sorry. Yeah. So you chose to sell it around say 199 to 200. You could have easily sold it around 300, 350 as well, and made a lot of money out of it. But what was the reason to choose 199 as the pricing?
To me, in terms of marketing, it's either I do it in a very extreme manner that you don't have any doubts, or I'll do it like anyone and I start analyzing. During that period of time, why I think 199 or my product manager start recommending to me 199 is because we doesn't want any doubt. I doesn't want to price at 300 and when the sales doesn't move, I start doubting. Is this the best? What is the resistance? Where are the problem? I doesn't want to distract myself with all this because we don't have the time. We need to build the business fast. So 199 give me very clear-cut decision, give me very clear-cut answer, right? It's either you buy it, you missed it, that's it. And if you buy it, good, I know my strategy work. And if you don't buy it, because you don't need it. And I shouldn't be doubtful on myself that I don't have a good product. I shouldn't be doubtful that my price is not good. I shouldn't be doubtful about my quality, that you are worried about my quality. Because all these doubts are clear.
So this was your strategy.
Yes.
If there was somebody else in Ben's place, might be that somebody else would have taken another approach.
It could be.
Yeah. So what I have learned, similar to this, like you asked, right? He could have priced it at 350 or something, 400 or something, right? Why didn't he? So everybody, I think, comes with his or own her strategy. I'll tell you what I used to do when I was a rice exporter in 2015, and I was selling to Singapore itself, and the ponni rice was the rice. So I knew that we could mark up $15 as margin per ton. But then I used to do that. Every time I did that, I had no guarantee of the next month's order coming.
Correct.
And I went on to do business with about 15 odd importers, and it started happening. It's the same with everyone. I came to know then is that while I am sitting in India, sending prices to my customers, I know that there are 10, 15 exporters already going and visiting him or her in the office. So then I made it very clear. I don't want to be a seller anymore. I want to be an advisor to my buyer. I decided whatever the price I arrive at, I will just add $5. Simple. So I kept the margins as $5 only. And every time I did that, I was always competitive. And now instead of 5 containers, we started taking up say 15, 20 containers in a month. This is 2015, and that was a very big order for us. And then I felt, even if I'm sitting in India and multiple exporters are visiting the buyer, they are all quoting the same way, $15, $10
yes.
markup, and I am still sitting in India and being competitive. So though everybody has an approach, everybody has a strategy. It did not always turn out to be right, but yes, you have to take one approach and try and test the markets.
Yes.
So I think some things like this help. So some people ask why you want to sell so cheap. Some people come and tell me quote $10 more, make money. I mean, you can, but then somebody else will quote something lower, and then the buyer will think, hey bro, you didn't advise me right. I didn't want to find myself in that situation. So I think these kind of pricing strategy, etc., etc. So are you an entrepreneur, Ben? So you decide pricing strategies, you decided the 6,000 products, you get to decide the name of the product, you decide how to sell, what price to sell. So are you an entrepreneur, or are you consider yourself an entrepreneur yourself? What is it?
I think it's a bit of a age towards entrepreneur, but you are not, right? I won't be an entrepreneur because I don't have that base, I think. And probably I don't think I would be lucky enough to secure a certain sum of money or investment to roll a business, especially when it is young and not proven, right? But however, when I am in a company, when we sell ideas or business ideas and how we want to change and how we want to profit from it, I think the company would be able to give you that amount of money, that amount of trust, that amount of resources that enable you to do this. Now, if we were to put this and pull this entrepreneur out, every entrepreneur, I believe, given the resources, he or she can become entrepreneur, right? But then why stop there as a entrepreneur? Because I think when you are able to have that resources, when you are able to expand very quickly, you get that adrenal rush. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you can achieve. That is the thing, satisfaction that you desire, right? Being an entrepreneur, aside from getting all these satisfaction, loads of problems that an entrepreneur would need to know. Not enough fundings, my employee salary, my overhead costs. These are something that entrepreneur doesn't need.
Correct.
right? And if I were to put myself as an entrepreneur, I may not be doing as well. Because at the back of my head, every dollar spent of marketing dollar is my profit. I may not be, in a very generous manner, sell the pallet truck at 199. I can't, right? So I think there are influence in the position where you are in decision making.
And what do you think is the line between an employee and an entrepreneur? Like, I tried, okay, I'll just tell you this. At PWIP, we have been trying to, engrave the culture, and there are two things that we try and avoid. We try and avoid the word salary.
Okay.
Instead of salary, we use the word payout.
Okay.
Instead of employee, we use the word team member. Because it should not be like it's my job or I'm working for a salary. Why can't it be entrepreneurial? Or why can't it be entrepreneurial that I own it up? Yes, it does not work with everybody, right? So why for the reason that you took up roles and responsibilities, took charge and did a lot by yourself, right? So the thing is that how can team members become entrepreneurial and they grow faster?
I don't think, first of all, everyone is the same.
Correct.
I don't expect my team to work as crazy as me.
Right.
I don't expect my team to take up as much responsibility as me. Now, having said that, some people at different time in life, they want different things.
Correct.
I have team member telling me, my work-life balance is important.
Right.
I have team member tells me, hey, I don't mind Saturday, Sunday working, right? But as a organization, how do we cater to different needs where people find balance, right? Even when a team member comes and tell you, hey, I can work Saturday, Sunday, would you really push him Saturday, Sunday? Won't you worry that you will burn him out? Won't you worry that you will tire him out, that he can't perform at a later stage? You will. So I think it is all by an individual, what really interests you and what motivates you. Now, let me give you an example. If I love doing sales, I love talking to people, right? Do you think that I would be dread coming to work? I wouldn't, because I love what I'm doing, right? And plus, if my surrounding, my team member is very cohesive, very cooperative, and it helps one another, I think that creates a good environment for that person to be very positive and to excel in what he wants to do, right? Pretty much is many times we feel that someone that joins us got into a wrong role, doing something that after a while he thought, oh, this is so tired and this is so demotivating. No matter how good I do, my team member will be saying, hey, you're not good enough, you're not doing this. My boss constantly asks for more, right? And the reason why that is so is because I think we have not start understanding either this employee fit this role,
Right.
or whether this culture, right? And it becomes a boyfriend and girlfriend thing. Before even we start dating, you don't even want to talk to me. How do we start? Right. But for a work, it could be reason because I need a paycheck. I come to work. I can't find anything better, right? So I just come here and see whether can I find anything else better, or whether do I gain an interest from there. So I think there are a lot of scenarios, situations around that person, and I think we need constantly a honest talk between the managers and the team members. What exactly you want? How can I help you? Right? And based on the performance, based on the day-to-day, you will be able to tell if this guy is the right guy.
Right. So I think we have almost come to the end.
Yeah, but we have few questions.
Yes, and I have one more question before I pass it on to you for the questions that you have. I don't want to be political, but whenever I've traveled in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, I've heard a lot about the then Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew.
Yep.
Correct. So, are you? Do you follow anybody, or could you do you like the way the stories that you have heard about him? How when Singapore was separated from Malaysia, and Singapore literally doesn't grow anything.
Yep.
And yet it is, I think, one of the third or the fourth biggest economy in the world. I think fifth biggest economy in the world. So on leadership, if you really follow him, or if you have read about, if we can share something, or the great leaders that you learn from or you read about
In
on
fact,
leadership.
our founding father Lee Kuan Yew is someone that I think I follow him dearly.
Oh wow. Okay.
I have a couple of his books.
Okay.
I read about his understanding in terms of the world,
Right.
right? And of course, he has a very great foresight, and the
Right.
way how he analyzed are superb,
Right.
right? But on the thing that he do
Mm.
is his character is full of determination,
Okay.
right? He's very determined, and he is very focused to the point.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you have catch one of the documentary available in Netflix talking about Lee Kuan Yew.
Mhm.
When the bond of the A380 comes in,
Mhm.
SIA bought 10,
Okay.
right? And I think the then SIA CEO went up to him and said, "We have bought 10."
Okay.
His question was a bit out of the box.
Okay.
His question was, "Okay, so which airports can support 380 now?"
Okay. SIA, my friends, is Singapore Airlines.
Right? And that took him aback because he's not prepared to answer such a question. He say, "Let me find out for you, right? Exactly,
Right.
how many airports are able to service, and how many airport in the next 2 weeks or 1 month is able to service 380,
Okay.
right?" And the next day, he came back with the answer. Now, when we hear this, the next day, the meeting with Lee Kuan Yew
Right.
is in the afternoon.
Okay.
The next morning.
Right.
Now, if you have followed Lee Kuan Yew routine,
Right.
by 6 a.m.,
Right.
his little box will travel to Istana, and he has already dissect everything what to do the next day.
Okay.
So imagine this CEO
Okay.
having to give that answer
Okay.
by morning.
Okay.
Of course, Lee Kuan Yew didn't tell him, "Morning, come and tell me," right?
Right.
But the CEO proactively did it. And so many airports in the world, how is he able to find information in such short time? It's a miracle. So
Right.
you can tell people that work under him
Okay.
is in tremendous stress.
Right.
And they want to find information quick so that this guy can provide valuable input. Now, when the answers reach Lee Kuan Yew, he only made a couple of comments. If I don't recall wrongly, he mentioned, "Good. So Singapore is one of the 10 that can support 380.
Okay.
And a lot of airlines has already ordered 380,
Okay.
right? And what does that mean? Those 380 planes can only fly to this few little country.
Correct.
And Singapore tourism will move
Okay.
and will improve.
Okay.
So next, what do we need to do? 380 is a big plane.
Correct.
Right. We need to support.
Yes.
And support not just the airport.
Right.
Support on my back.
Right.
Tourism, right? The tourist attractions, hotel stays, things
Yes.
like that.
Yes. That's how tourism was born.
Not exactly, but you can actually use this situation or this little thing that LKY mindset is. This guy never rests. From one thing he got info, he can really relate to what are the things I need to prepare now. What are the things I can grab and seize that opportunity. So he is that guy.
Right. So for all of you who is looking for inspiration, guys, you should definitely read or watch about LKU.
Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew, who is the first Prime Minister of Singapore. in layman words, they say that Malaysia threw Singapore out.
Yes.
That's what they say. And Singapore has nothing. From nothing they became. I don't know if you have seen at least pictures, videos of Singapore. How can a country with no production of whatsoever food, every simple thing has to be imported into the country, yet it's one of the richest country, and probably the standards. And when I first traveled to Singapore, I only in 2015, right? The kind of road infrastructure, metro infrastructure, the airport infrastructure, and how they limited cars, buying of cars, I felt like I think I felt like they're 50 years ahead in terms of planning, in terms of thinking. And if there can be a leader who can build a country from nothing, from scratch, and today Singapore's currency is at least, I think, 5 times more valuable than their neighbors. And
3 times.
Might be 10 times from a few other neighbors. So I think leadership skills, right, guys? People who want to, and I think Ben mentioned about his determination of Lee Kuan Yew, right? His determination. And normally when people run their own business, they become very serious about growth. But when somebody is building a country, they would always want to exploit, right? Not my money, I will raise some money, I will pocket some money, I will build some cash, I will build some properties. But to build a country like it's my own, right? I think that is amazing.
Yes.
And I think there's one more thing Ben said. How Lee Kuan Yew could pick up one thing and then build everything around it. The CEO of Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines is now a Singapore government-owned airline.
No, it's not. It's private.
It's private now?
It's private.
But at one time it
it's
was
listed.
Listed, yes.
Previously, I think it was owned, but I don't think that is the intent. I couldn't know. I don't know the exact how it is being born. But Lee Kuan Yew has a philosophy. All these businesses, right, it should be profitable.
Right.
The reason why is they shouldn't use the people's money to grow. And that's where I think corruption comes in, a lot of stuff start coming in, and he doesn't want that. So in order for the business to grow, they need to find profit. They need to find good people.
Right.
They need to make sure that the revenue is constant, the profit is constant, so that it can scale. Right. So that's the mentality behind. We run stat boards, things like our telecoms, our shipping. It's all based on profit. And it's based on merits.
Right.
So everyone has to give a value for us. And when the day that we can't give value, we know we are doomed.
Right. Right.
And that can't happen in Singapore, especially when we have no resources.
Right. Correct. Very good. Yes. So, do we have any questions?
Yes. Hi Ben. So even I belong to the marketing team, and you have a very good journey in marketing. So I just had one question. So when you were working in Samsung, right? Before that, you worked in a startup also. So in Samsung, like how we were discussing before this podcast, that you were working with the top management there, right? So how did you reach there, and what needle moving thing you have done so that they have took you in the top management, and you work directly with the president and VCs, and what is that one thing which you have done which just did crazy in the sales?
I think first of all, let's not limit ourselves that I am just an executive, I can only talk to a manager. No, that rule was not written at all, right? Of course, you have to do it in a sensible manner, right? You can approach a VP, you can approach a CEO, and you can discuss about things. Maybe not about your work, maybe about something else. Then you build relationship from there. Or from your boss, you can start understanding, or your boss, You can start understanding, okay, what your boss objective is. And from time to time, definitely you will interact with some of the top management. And this is where I think, most importantly, you understand what they want and you deliver. Right? It is very difficult to relate in a sense that when I say, hey, let's focus on the operation because operation is going to bring us bread and butter. Right? And if you are not, and when you are in the operation and you feel all the frustration and you feel all the stress that is coming in because we focusing so hard on this area, it is difficult for you to relate to me or to the senior management. Hey, in fact, I think we are heading the wrong way. In fact, I think I have a better idea. In fact, I think I have one solution that is able to plug this small gap. Now, have we ever even tried? Or are we feeling inferior? No, I shouldn't be talking to my superior. No, I shouldn't be talking to the CEO directly. Right. So what's stopping you? Right? Of course, at the end of the day, it has to be done in a very structured manner. Right? It has to be politically right in some way to save your own skin. The manager has to be known. Right? The immediate needs to be known. And if all fails, start asking around opinions. Due to this situation, what do you think? Due to that situation, what do you think? Right? There's millions of communications whereby the top management is in. You can just voice it out. I believe the door is always open. We wouldn't say no to any feedback, but do you have the courage to step into that door and to share? That's why I was always saying the 4 people. It takes courage to be the first.
You're fine, can you share the story of pre-sale which you have implemented in Samsung and could inspire?
We wanted to take out that story of
and could inspire all of us.
For me myself, to where I am today, I feel I'm an opportunist. Right? I've said that very early, and what I mean by that is when you feel something is not right, or you can do it better, you suggest. Especially it has been backed by probably theory, framework, experience, right? And with that, you only have one objective, is to be better good, to bring the company or to bring the team to another level. In Samsung, I had a couple of conversations, right? When I was looking at the pre-order, that was not pre-order during then, it was just registration of interest for all the flagship phones. During then, it is the S7. So we are going to launch the Note 7. And when I was looking at the conversions from registration to the actual people that buys the phone, the stats was quite miserable, right? And it is so low that I think we can easily achieve it. Now, I relate this and share this my findings to, of course, the head of mobile during then. And then he, of course, look at the stats and think, yeah, the chances are high. Chances are high that it can be better. I spoke to the head of channel, the head of sales of mobile during then, and he also agreed, right? But the problem is, as a distributor, so-called, that has been fully leveraging on telcos, how can we avoid channel conflict? How can we manage the whole process better? And would there be any risk in terms of business relationship? Now, that's the whole main gist of it, right? It is not really about, Ben, I don't want you to do it, right? It's of the bigger picture. And you yourself being in that picture, while you want to drive this, you also need to understand where their pain is, right? And if you are able to solve the pain, start small, which we did in Note 7, we can move this thing. So this is what we did. We have moved the pre-order for Note 7, and it was a success, right? Leveraging on our channel partner, retailers.com, or marketplace, and we spend $0 marketing, right? The whole process approach of pre-order, during then my boss, Mr. So, I tell him very frankly, number one, pre-order is what we can do market sensing. Every time when we do launch, it's going to be a 1 month thing. Launch, you will see our new phone, we will share all the USP, we will start doing. Then the phone will arrive 1 month, 2 months later, and you can buy. And during this period of time, the desire start falling, start dropping. Now, how do we capture the desire at the peak? This is one. That's where the pre-order comes in, where they can address this issue. Number two is we can also feel the market. If the pre-order doesn't do well, what does it say? We may have a problem with launching our product.
And in pre-order, you want the customer to pay, correct?
Yes. They have to pay first to secure the product, right? And second is that, well, if the sensing of the market is not so good, right? What are we going to do? Meaning to say we still have that 1 to 2 months
You'll figure out.
to ramp up our marketing, our pre-order sale, our launch sales. How do we provide that cushion? So it's market sensing, it's getting the customers to buy when their desire is high and not miss out any opportunity. So these are the two approach.
This could even mean to say an app or a software.
It could be, because at the end of the day, after the flagship success, we spread the words, we did out a playbook, everyone start doing it. And not only that, various products start adopting.
Right.
Now I have Galaxy Watch coming and say, hey, can we do pre-order? And it was a success again, right? And we have wearables, we have iconics, things like that we play around. Whether does this pre-order works, whether does it not, right? And to certain categories, of course, it doesn't work. Like a 49-inch monitor, it didn't, right? Because the price point is not there. It is too expensive. The need is not there. The USP is not strong enough to bring people coming in. And we know exactly if pre-order can't sell, it's hard to sustain. And the team need to work harder to promote.
Right. And the pre-orders, people who pre-order will get a benefit, better pricing or whatever. Then
Pre-order,
customer-
normally we won't play with pricing. The pre-order will still be that price, but we will give probably a extra phone cover, maybe a extra voucher, right? Maybe we will let you have a boasting period by having the phone before the launch, maybe a week, 2 days, 3 days, kind of stuff. So when you take your phone, your new phone, and the market, no one has it, hey, that's bragging rights, right?
So I think it's time for a big round of.
Yeah, before we end it, let's just, I want to wrap up with one last question. So, as you were an entrepreneur, so you worked even in multi-million company, that is Samsung, and also small companies like Yellow Box, where you did from everything from scratch, right? So, as you have to inspire, where did you feel inspiring? Where did you feel the most? You did the most out of it, and what made which company made you satisfied in your life? If you have to close it.
My closing is every company is unique. The satisfaction that it brings to me are very different, right? When I am in Marine Online, the thing I accomplish, or when I am in Samsung, the things that I accomplish are totally quite different. The satisfaction is totally quite different, right? But if you want to let me hold dear those moments, I think Yellow Box would be the one, right? The reason why I say that is because we started out from nothing. The boss, the MD during then has given really a leap of faith, right? We have done a lot of things that traditionally we wouldn't do it, like hiring an in-house developer. Why a packaging company will hire an in-house developer, right? Having a full-fledged marketing team where we are able to do SCM, where we are able to do PPC, where we can flex our muscle in terms of EDM, creatives, and things like that, right? And most importantly is how we expand Yellow Box, right? From 500 SKU, how do you ramp up to 6,000? How do you approach all the master distributor and start listing their product and be a reseller from them? I mean, that is a lot of leap of faith, right? And on top of that, every company that register in Yellow Box, you get $500 credit. That's a lot of leap of faith, right? And we get that kind of support whereby how we going to integrate a digital side of a business to a traditional business, right? And how are we able to spend a lot of money on developing system that able to help automate all those manual work, right? And at the end of the day, help our processes to be so streamlined that we can deliver fast.
So you're saying that, like a lot of people say, it is very interesting and exciting to work in a startup. But bigger companies like Samsung could also be very interesting. Depends on what are you solving, and what is your project like.
In fact, Samsung give me a lot of the commercial side of things. Right, commercial side of things is, Ben, this is going to be the product that we are going to launch. This is the launch plan. This is how your involvement is going to be. This is what are all the marketing. This is our sustenance. This is blah 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 blah. Everything have been laid out.
Right.
Right. The press release that comes to you, Ben, can you see the draft and see if there is any amendments? If not, then we will just sign off from there. All the things are being done professionally by the team. Right? And even to the extent when we develop a platform, and I mentioned this platform has to be integrated into our order processing so that it's seamless. I doesn't need to go through how this is being done. Because there are professionals dealing with those things. And me, at that point of time, I felt, so my focus is really how to bring the business, how to bring in the money,
right,
how to sell, right? How to manage channels, how to manage internal, how to synergize everything.
So I noticed in my own career, like about 15 years, and I think to an extent it's like a trend in India where if you spend 1 year or 2 years in a company, I think you're going to leave the company soon. And I feel everybody will assess themselves in a way: is my bank account improving? Is my pay increasing? Or I'm doing quite challenging things. So if somebody's doing the same thing for a year, for 2 years, the same thing, they will either get bored, they will want to move on, or their income is not moving at all.
Yes.
So they would want to move on. So I tend to tell you it is better we all ramp up, right? If you're in sales, if you're into design, if you're into product, into marketing, tech, whatever, sales, operations, right? Scale up, let's do bigger business. There was a time we used to talk about in India, we used to talk about let's do 100 CR, which is about 14-15 million dollars for the year. Then we said, why can't we do 150 million dollars, right? So then, okay, what do we need to do? And so when the growth happens, people stick on. So otherwise, if it is stagnant, people slowly start losing interest.
You're right.
So what do you think? How can you keep, build upping in your game? That you're doing better, achieving more.
Right. I think the advice that I can give is raise your bar continuously. Right. If, say, for example, today I can easily manage and ship out 100 containers.
Right.
The next month is I want to think of how do I scale double.
Correct.
Right. Correct. And when we say that such easily,
right,
on the back, it's not.
Right.
The back of house is how do I find sales?
Right.
How do I get my operation team?
Right.
Do they have the bandwidth? Where do you think my next bottleneck is going to be? Where do I need to ramp up people and things like that? Right. And if you were to share this to the team, I can tell you most of the time they will think, shit, it's more work. And my pay is the same.
Yes. I'm being burdened with more and more work.
You're right.
But I'm not growing at all.
And we have to be honest. Everyone has this opinion.
Right.
Whether is it going to create a big impact or whether this impact is bigger, right? Because everyone background is different,
Right.
and they have the right to do it. Now, what we as a leader have to do is we make very logical statements.
Right.
True statement, facts, and it is logical. When it comes to remuneration, salary,
Right.
bonuses, that person that's sitting in front of me asking, probably thinking that I should have this X dollar amount of things, right? X dollar amount, I should get a promotion for that. But at the end, when you comes to reality, you tell him or her that this is the expectation and you fall short. As an employee, most of the time you say, shit, I got to do it again.
Right.
And it is demoralizing,
Right.
right? But how do you able to put this demoralizing session into a more encouraging session?
Right.
Now, don't wait until next year. Don't wait until end of the year.
Right.
Don't.
Right.
Do it in a quarterly basis.
Right.
Do it in a monthly basis,
Right.
formal, informal.
Right.
Do that so that you are able to pace
Right.
advancement.
Right.
You are able to set expectation and not surprise.
Right.
Human are emotion,
Right.
right? They hate surprise unless the surprise is beneficial to them.
Right.
So do it periodically.
Right.
Talk to them, right? And this is the time where you think, hey, you think you can do something more, Dhanraj? I think we can do 300 containers.
Right.
Have a think about it, how you want to grow.
Right.
You will be energized, 300 containers,
Yeah.
right? You will focus some of the energy, how do I do 300 containers? And when you reach that, I will say, Dhanraj, 300 container, good job, right? Can you do 500?
Right.
Let's do it.
Right.
Think of a way.
Right.
Again, you will go in back to your drawing board. Okay, now how do I do 500?
Right.
At the end of the day, when you brought from 100 to 500, do you think the company is profitable? It is. Do you think the company can spare that little bonuses to you?
Right.
They can,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if nothing move, nothing scale, where do you expect the money to come from?
Right.
Where?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right.
So I think everyone is fair. Everyone have their own thinking of their own expectation. Therefore, I think you has to be very truthful to yourself, what you really want. And when you relate what you want, the company easily, okay, let's think of a way. Let's reach this. I may not be able to do this for you tomorrow. I may not be able to fulfill this next month. Maybe give ourselves a year, give ourselves 5 years. Right? And during these 5 years, let's make a plan how we move one step at a time. How we conquer every challenges. Are you with me? You are with me. Let's do it.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, thank you so much, Ben, to
Thank you.
come over. Let's give a big round of applause to.
Thank you.